back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. As you can see, we are kind of in a remote studio. Actually, this is the garden level of the Holman House studio. And we're going to stay in town now. We're going to spend a little time here with a good friend, Tim Daman, President and CEO of the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Tim, it's always good to spend time with you. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Chris. I always appreciate catching up with you.
Well, it's good to have you on. So let's talk about the first quarter and how it relates to your membership and the regional area in total. How's this first quarter been?
I think it's rebounded nicely. I think when you look at last year, and arguably the last half of last year was very, very strong. And then I think we had this, the Omicron variant kind of hit us in December and well into January. And so things did kind of come to a little bit of a pause, I think, in the month of January. And I think, activities and whatnot around the community. But you know what, things are beginning to kind of pick back up right now. We're optimistic. I know that we continue to hear from our employers and businesses around our region. I think this probably goes across the country, is that, talent and inflation and some of this uncertainty, right? And I think we've talked a lot about that over the years, that business doesn't like uncertainty. And so, just interesting conversations with some HR folks and talking about the challenges they have and the wages and compensation, increases and, significant type of increases as they're trying to bring new people on and keep and retain people. So it's a continuing cycle right now around those two areas.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about business not liking uncertainty. And of course, you look at the interest rates, and every economist we've talked to lately says pretty much the same thing, but they're predicting those rates are going to go up steadily to control that inflation. So you've had some great news recently with the cargo expansion project at the Capital Region International Airport. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's great for what Nicole's doing. And I think, her vision there as she comes back in a leadership role and kind of looking at the resources that have been built at the airport around this cargo piece. And so, you think about the port of entry, Port Lansing, you have the foreign trade zone. So you've got this UPS hub. So you have the makings there of a lot of activity around the cargo piece of that. And, as we say, I think UPS has 200 employees out there. And at any given time, they're occupying the majority of that cargo ramp in that space. And so this expansion, I think, is significant. So not only the $8 million, I think, that came in from the Fed side here just recently, I think there was another $2 million, I believe, that came in from the state and some of the relief funds as well for the airport for infrastructure type of work. And so, yeah, we're really excited, one, about having Nicole back. And I think secondly, kind of her vision and leadership, especially when you kind of think about this cargo side and some of the opportunities there.
Yeah, of course, Nicole being Nicole Noel Williams, the CEO of the Capital Region International Airport. And that port of entry, I think, is going to really be one of the good parts of the supply chain problem, because now we can bring that right here. You recently had a pretty good win for the area of the GM battery plant. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, you know what, that was so significant. And I remember, you and I chatting a little bit about that. And I still maintain, and before you can even have the conversations about the $2.5 billion investment, now you've got to go back 25 years with Mayor Hollister and Ray Tadgerson and Jack Davis and others who really led that, retained GM effort at that point in time. Because without that work, the last 20 years would not have happened. And so I think we got it from a historical perspective. But certainly putting our region in the middle of this new EV. And the innovation and whatnot with that around the automotives and so forth, I think, is significant. I think there's a whole new buyer base opportunity as well. And then very quietly, and I think it really kind of got missed a little bit. I think there's an additional $500 million of investment going into the facilities here and kind of tooling and whatnot. And all the assumptions are getting ready for the electric vehicle production here in our region as well. So again, I think it's a significant and transformational. It gets thrown out a lot, but I mean, this really is for our region very transformational.
Yeah, it certainly could be. So you guys at the Chamber have had some DEI efforts lately. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know what? It's been great, and I tell you, we went into this really eyes wide open, and really sometimes maybe not necessarily knowing what we don't know and so forth. And so we launched last July, we launched a DEI, what we're calling a DEI journey. And part of that journey included some programming that we were going to offer up to really kind of targeting small and medium-sized businesses. Our team started some training as well, and for professional development opportunities for our team. And then just here recently, we launched our DEI Executive Roundtable, and being facilitated by Lansing Community College Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Tanya Bailey, and truly trying to help business leaders better understand how we, one, implement some of the DEI strategies, not only within our own businesses and organizations, but with our external audiences as well. So, and it is a journey. I mean, it really is. I don't know that you're ever there. I don't think you get to the destination and you're like, okay, we've arrived. I mean, it's a continuing journey, and you have to work hard at being very intentional on it. And I think that's kind of where our organization is today. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got some great people here, Ashley Willis and Steve Jappingham, that have been tremendous in kind of leading this effort for us.
Unbelievable stuff. And we have been the recipient right when you thought, someone else was getting ready to kick us. Central Michigan has been a recipient of some pretty good news. Tim, anything else you got coming up at the Chamber we should know about?
You know what? We just recently announced our support for the Lansing School District Zero Mill Bond proposal. May 3rd, the voters going to be asked to $129 million investment into Lansing Public Schools. We're excited about that, and education, this talent pipeline. So we're pleased to continue to support the Lansing School District.
Of course, you and I are both a big part of that. So let's get that bond issue through. Tim, always good to spend time with you. Tim Daman, President and CEO of the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce. You have a good one, bud.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. You too.
You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. We'll be right back with more.